All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of How I Met Your Mortgage. As always, I am your host, Adam Smith, with Just the Tips Coaching, and with me, pretty much as always, is our marketing director, Jen Way-Bohr. Good morning, Jen.
Good morning.
It is, I know we do this every time, and yes, it is morning while we're broadcasting where you and I are, and where our guest is as well, a repeat guest. Welcome back to the show, David Carter. Hello, David.
Hello, thanks for having me back. I didn't think I was that interesting.
Well, you only have to be more interesting than me.
Oh, okay.
So I set the bar really low, man.
That's good to know.
So, yeah. And boy, it has been a whirlwind few days since we last did a broadcast. Jen and I have been working on a bunch of really funny marketing stuff, circumnavigating the Colorado Avalanche playing in the Stanley Cup. 2-0. Congratulations to them. Jen, we never did talk about the fact that there was an impending professional lacrosse championship in that same building. Congratulations to the National Lacrosse League champion Colorado Mammoth. Good on you for winning that championship this weekend as well. I'm probably not going to get into the Delta Airlines debacle. I'll probably save that for a separate video, but I would like to say that I have never in my life boarded a flight late, pushed, returned to the gate, pushed, returned to the gate. You're not hearing an echo. We did push and return to the gate twice. Deplaned for a new plane, then get canceled, rebooked. Delta was kind enough to provide me lodging for the night, but when I got to the hotel, they had no record of me. Sorry, we don't have room for you. So yeah, I stayed with some friends outside of Salt Lake City. Went back to the airport, rebooked, back to the airport the next day in the same clothes, of course, because wasn't supposed to spend the night. That flight was delayed again, lack of pilots.
Wow.
So yeah, boy, we had a really interesting couple of days, and unfortunately, Delta, I did miss the Stanley Cup game, although I had a ticket in my phone for it, so that was disappointing. The second game, that was disappointing to say the least. But moving on to greener pastures, we were talking a bunch off camera before we went live with David about what in the hell is going on with mortgage rates. How does that tie to what the Fed does? Why can't the Fed even spell economy? And what is really going on? And David, we ran out of time before we went live to kind of get into this, but the bottom line is that they're not really connected. Both obviously have an impact on the global economy, but the Fed deals in short-term rates, which is why there is a potential impact on inflation. So you might see an impact on your credit cards, on car loans, those kinds of things. Mortgage rates are dictated by the mortgage-backed securities market and really nothing else. That's how mortgages are priced day to day, how yields off the mortgage-backed securities play, how credits, if you want to buy your rate down, on and on. It is strictly dictated by the mortgage-backed securities market, which mortgages obviously are very long-term rates. So they're very, very different in that sense. However, the MBS, being a private market, like most, are a little more intelligent, a little more preemptive. The investor is likely got a better grip on finances than the federal government, sorry to say. But so right before the Fed raised rates, and we knew it was coming, I think I had predicted within a few days prior that it would actually not be a half-point increase, that it would be a three-quarter point increase. There was some debate about it even being a full 100 basis points, but we were right, nailing it at 75. But days before that, the mortgage rates had already gone up. And when the Fed raised rates, mortgage rates came back down. In fact, we had the best day on the mortgage-backed securities market the day of or the day after the Fed meeting. I could go look that we'd had in, probably months and months, certainly all year. It was a big, big day. We gained like 100 basis points at one time. Jen, somewhere in there.
It was, yeah.
I mean, you track the data better
122 or something.
122. So a very big day. But again, only because the mortgage-backed securities market is preemptive. We had already raised rates days before, leading up to the Fed meeting. Fed meets, mortgage rates come back down. And I think that's been the case like 12 out of the last 15 times the Fed has raised rates, mortgage rates have gone down. So it's very, very difficult to understand how these things intertwine. And of course, the general consumer, here's rhetoric on the radio. Mortgage companies are disgusting when they advertise, oh, you bet Fed's going to raise rates. You better hurry up and lock in now because when the Fed raises rates, mortgage rates are likely to come back down. So, yeah, there's a lot of misleading information out there. So, yeah, it is difficult to kind of get a grip on. But, yeah, that's basically the gist. But How I Met Your Mortgage, just the tips coaching. None of that is here for us to describe what's going on in interest rates to our audience, which is mostly really smart mortgage originators and real estate agents. And you guys already know all this shit. So let's move on to something far more important. And let's talk about David. Hi, David.
Hi.
How have you been? We haven't had you on the show for what's probably better than a year, man.
Yeah, no, it's been going actually really good. I'm still pretty steady. I mean, everything that I'm doing, it's just the nuts and bolts, honestly. It's actually been picking up a lot lately because I think people are just desperate to get back out and actually see a real live human person.
Yeah, there's part of that for sure.
Yeah. I mean, you're seeing a lot of people kind of come out of their shells. You were talking hockey. I just had 3 families over to my house. I throw up a 150-inch screen with a projector and the downstairs. It was in the downstairs. Normally I throw it out in the backyard, but I mean, they're all past and previous and clients and friends and everything. And, they want to see a live person, I mean, just from that, extensions from those, one of those families is coming back to look at houses. And then another related family to that family is looking for their own little commune now. So, I mean, talking about generation and business and everything like that, I think it's time to just get back to the basics and back to that belly to belly marketing pretty much. I think people want to see the sincerity. They want to see the actual connection again, not the, this is my Zoom meeting call for my listing presentation so we can sell your house and everything.
Oh, God. Doing listing presentations over Zoom must have been, well, that probably wore thin pretty quick.
Yeah, not only that, but like if you're talking to someone you've never met before, if it's a brand new listing appointment, then, all they get to do is see you from a distance. You don't really get to see I mean, they were even weary of you like coming into their house to go see how everything was going. Cause then you never really knew. It was a weird time in our society as well. Cause, everyone was set on one side of the fence or the other. And not that that's changed a whole lot right now, but you're always trying to figure out where you stand especially whenever you're right in the middle of everybody usually. So, but it's been a good time.
When did you notice that shift actually occur? When could you pick out a month last year where the general consensus was like, okay, I've had enough of Zoom. I've had enough of shelter in place. I've had enough of not being belly to belly, of not going to events. Could you nail down a timeline where you think your circle wanted to get back to the face-to-face?
Well, in Colorado Springs, I don't think that ever went away, honestly.
Okay.
It was more like the people that were moving into Colorado Springs were the ones that were still keeping their distance and stuff. Don't get me wrong. It was more like, when can we get back to it? Not like that they didn't ever want to go back to it. But if I was going to put a date on it, I'd probably say about February of this year.
Wow.
Honestly. Yeah.
Okay.
Whenever people were finally just kind of shaking off all of that, from the last 2 years and just kind of jumping in and saying, you know what, I'm over this, I'd rather have a life than, captivity, and going from there kind of a thing. But yeah, I would, it's probably only been this year that I've really seen, people actually inviting me back out to places, I mean, I'm a social person. I invite everybody to everything and just see what they agree to. But me and my wife were just planning our 4th of July party, so I had to I have one of the very rare pools in all of Colorado Springs. So
That is rare.
it is. Yeah. And it's for a reason. It just cost me a nice like $8,000 to resurface and paint it and everything. And, you know, that's not even filling up with water and paying for the heating bill for the next 4 months of it. So yeah, but we're going to throw a good 4th of July party because, you know, they're not going to be able to do fireworks and stuff down here is what they're saying. So
Same, yeah.
but yeah, just getting back to the social aspect of actually having friends and seeing people face to face and all that stuff.
That's a big one. You know, it's funny. The couple lovely friends of ours that I got stranded with in Salt Lake City Friday night have a fairly new pool. And we talked about it a lot. It's a magnet. The kids want to come over. The grandkids want to come over. It's really a great way to make sure that you are able to kind of draw people in that you want to spend time with. It was cool.
Yep. No, I'm actually even my whole mindset is always, you know, how can I make this into income? Just I don't know why that I was raised up that way, but I definitely was. And even in that pool, there's an app called Swimply where it's like the Airbnb for swimming pools, and people can rent out my pool by the
That's
hour.
crazy.
People can rent your pool by the hour.
Yep.
That's really cool.
Yeah, hashtag side gig right there.
Right.
That is phenomenal. And David, what would it cost me to rent your pool for an hour?
$55 an hour.
That is awesome. That seems like a good deal.
Yeah, for up to 10 people. I mean,
wow.
Yeah. So come on over.
And how many hours can I have it for?
Well, I mean, it's just like an Airbnb, so I have to approve it. So I mean, like if I'm not using it or whatever, you know, then you can have it for as long as I'm not there. I mean, normally all my appointments are in the afternoon. So my kids and wife swim in the morning, or they did last year. So usually it's kind of funny because it's like during the hottest part of the day is whenever we're not using it usually, unless it's Sunday. So Sunday is like my day off. So, you know, we might float around in there for that. But yeah, I mean, I think that's another thing that is going on really big. That's another thing I've been approaching my clients about is because everyone's scared that we're going into a recession and everything like that. But you're also coming off of like, you know, all-time highs of equity inside of your property. So I'm going back to a lot of my clients that I know have a ton of equity in their property, and I'm talking to them about how to use that equity to reinvest into real estate, you know, hard assets that people can live in pretty much.
Build a pool that you can rent.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
I got to tell you that if you approve my request, rent your pool, there's a chance I'll pee in it.
Huh? That's all right. I was say I have a 4, a 2-year-old, and a 3-month-old. If you
they're all peeing in it anyway. It would be a race. Which of your kids or I would pee in the pool first? All right. So I love this methodology, this ideology. And I don't think it's any secret based on how we opened our conversation this time around, or to most of our audience, that we do mortgages. I own a mortgage brokerage in addition to our coaching company. And we're seeing a lot of alternative type of stuff where people are taking that equity for a test drive, as it were. A lot of cash out remodel, a lot of cash out debt consolidation, especially with what, you know, inflation is doing, with what the Fed is doing, so on and so forth. But I do see a lot of people liquidating to purchase additional property. That one certainly floats our boat. But yeah, I love this discussion. What kinds of things are you seeing people do when they're taking that equity out for a spin?
So I've seen a couple of them. So you said remodels. I've had a couple of people remodel their house to get more out of it, so for a better sell price. Just trying to match everything. And this is also something that I tell my clients, coming from a flip background, is if you're looking at trying to do that remodel to go ahead and buy another thing and you're just trying to sell it for top dollar, then you always want to just kind of match your neighborhood. So that's one thing that I run through with all my clients is, you know, you don't always have to be the fanciest, but you can't be the outdated house for the last 20 years and then expect the same, you know, $100,000 over asking price kind of an offer kind of a thing.
True.
But then as long as the client has like a really good DTI, and they love the house that they're in currently, we'll look at that to try to figure out, how much of a down payment could you do? Could you put that, roll that back into another real estate investment that brings you passive income on a monthly basis? And it really just, real estate to me is always very personal. It's what's your situation? What are you trying to accomplish? And really that's whenever people tell me, "Oh, I just want to make more money." Like that's not everyone's trying to make more money.
We're capitalists. Not gonna lie.
Yeah. That's not that's not their real motivation for probably about 85% of the people out there. I'm about to say the real motivation is what they're trying to accomplish. And you're really trying to get down to that. Like, are you trying, and what I mean by that is are you trying to get out of your 9 to 5 so that you can, spend more time with your family, or, what is it that you actually want? And then those are the actual goals that I try to reinforce during the entire transaction. Because it's frustrating, whenever you go to your mortgage company and your current home has a 2.5 or, to 3% interest rate. And now you're looking at anything else you're going to purchase and you're at a 5 to 5.5 because, you have to have 20% down. It's an investment property. You're not getting those owner occupied rates and things like that. So,
and there's an enormous nick in the interest rates for second homes and investment properties as of late, only months historically now. And I think it was an attempt by the Federal Housing Finance Authority to kind of make the market a little more palatable for owner occupants, for your primary residence. I don't think that there isn't one thing in the tool bag that's going to solve our housing shortage by any stretch. But I think that's what the attempt was. So, and don't get me wrong, I'm big on this. We bought a couple of vacation short-term rental homes over the course of the pandemic, and it went from 10% down and a rate in the 2s to 20% down and a rate in the 6s over the course of really this year, late last year into this year. And it's different. Don't get me wrong. Real estate appreciating at 20% a year. Do I care if I'm paying 6 when I'm going to net 14? Not really. The investment model is still pretty live wire kind of shit. But I think that it's certainly making an impact. But I've got one rattling around in my brain right now. Clients are borrowing a ton of money, jumbo property or jumbo loan amount on a luxury property, paying off a ton of high interest debt, liquidating enough cash to buy and build their retirement home. And they're going to do it now while it's still relatively cheap to buy the land. Who knows what that's going to look like in 5-10 years. Mm-hmm. If we continue on this path, it'll double again. It may double again and again over the course of a decade, right? And our housing shortage is going to be solved in that time frame. So we are seeing people make some smart long-term financial moves, but with the motivation of what do I want to accomplish long-term? What is my retirement going to look like? What kind of institutional wealth do I want to build? What kind of generational wealth do I want to build? So, I think if people are able to kind of, open up those blinders a little bit and start paying better attention, more focused attention on what my life, what my dollars, what my financial situation on and on may look like in 3, 5, 10 years, then I think it's easier to kind of nail some of this shit down and really help them, bridge gaps to get there.
Yep. No, I mean, there's a lot of different ways. I mean, I think number one, as realtors, as any kind of an advisor, I mean, I'm not a financial advisor by any means. I always send them over to lawyers and people that know how to actually, that are licensed for whatever it is that I'm, telling them to go find out about. But I mean, I just had a client that, unfortunately, her husband passed away. She received a large insurance payout for life insurance. She bought a house here in Colorado Springs because she wanted to live here. But just kind of talking to her, she was trying to figure out a way you were talking about generational wealth. So we took, obviously I didn't do any of this, just, for clarification, sent her off to a lawyer up in Denver that I trust with that kind of stuff. But we started a family trust, put all of that insurance money into her trust. And then we bought her 2 kids, houses, cash, wrote them mortgages out of the trust so that there's no origination or anything along those lines because she had a large amount of cash just sitting there. And now those kids are paying back those mortgages at rates that will continue, instead of paying the family back instead of, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, any of those people. And now, the family is making that 200 to 400 extra $1,000 that interest would have accrued over the next 30 years inside.
Right. Yes, I like this. Everybody benefits.
Yeah.
This is really cool. Very smart.
I'm just trying to keep it in the family, talking about, and that you hear a lot about generational wealth, but it's usually directed outwards. Like people are mad that other people have generational wealth. It's like, it's not that hard to make. It just takes time and diligence. That's how wealth is made. I can't remember the quote exactly, but it's, small deposits over a long period of time. Albert Einstein said something like that, and I can't remember what it is. Whenever he's talking about compound interest.
Sure.
I can't remember the whole quote, but he was kind of a smart guy, so I trust him.
There's a lot of logic to this. I'm right in the middle of rereading Atomic Habits.
Yeah.
So maybe absolutely. So maybe my head is just kind of in that space, and I obviously had a lot of time. I'm doing it on Audible this time, so I had a lot of time over the weekend to sit in airports. I think for a 1-hour flight home, I sat in an airplane for 6 hours. So just to make that 58 or 59 minute flight. So had a lot of time with that, and we just make these tiny, almost microscopic incremental changes, improvements, deposits, as it were. And we're really able to kind of tinker with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and just you asked what's going on over the last year. We're actually really doing a big push for the brokerage right now. Do you mind if I plug that real quick?
Plug that shit, man. That's what we're here for. Go for it.
So awesome. So I'm the employing broker for Call It Closed International Realty for the state of Colorado. We all started in Naples, but right now, especially with kind of the market turning and people not really knowing exactly what to do, I hear the same question: what's the fastest way to make money? And honestly, I think the fastest way to make money is keep the money that you already make. So we're 100% brokerage, and then we also have residential plans on top of that. We are opening up both mortgage and title companies across the nation that our agents are able to buy into for also extra passive income. Sorry, I shouldn't plug the mortgage company. Luckily, it's not open in Colorado yet, so you can.
You're fine. We are big believers that we don't have any competition anyway, except ourselves.
But no, we also have, outside of those residual opportunities, we also have residual plans. We're opening up, we're filing all of our stock option plans right now, and we already have residual plans going down in payment share. It really is a phenomenal platform, and for anyone right now, I feel like there's a big shift in the market. I mean, EXP already kind of broke up that brick and mortar kind of a structure where you have to have your office, and I'm sitting here in a spare bedroom that I've turned into my office, and this is where everything happens for me. This is where I do business 9 hours out of the day, and I think that's where our model is going. So right now, I'd encourage most realtors to just kind of think about, what am I paying for? Our model's not for everybody, but if you're brand new and you need that hands-on day-to-day action where you have to be in the office so someone can ride you to make all your calls or back in with your people, that's probably not, or we're not for you.
Yeah.
But if you're already established, you're already you know who to make your calls to, what you're going to do. If you're listening to the great Just the Tips material, then I think it'd be a really wise thing to look at how much you're actually paying out and what you actually use that for. I'd love to have the conversation with anybody that wants to have that conversation.
It's going to be an interesting year that way, isn't it?
It is.
The latter half of this year, we're going to see a lot of change. We're going to see a lot of evolution. We're going to see a lot of exodus.
Mm-hmm.
I would not be surprised if half of the existing, that's going to be hard to define in the real estate industry because NAR already tells us that 80% fail in the first 2 years.
Yeah.
So I don't know where that number goes. Mortgage originators, I'd say half, probably gone by the end of the year. I hope that's not the case. I hope all of you really look. You probably know what you are supposed to be doing. Contact management, calendar management, treating your social media like an audience, spending time in the box, working on that stuff, good video work, improving your systems, on and on. You guys probably know all of this. So yeah, please don't become a statistic. Do that stuff so we can see your bright, shining faces next year.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, there's always more room, and what's beautiful about the industry is there's so many different niches in it that you need to find one. I think a lot of realtors, because there's a million different programs, there's a million different places to put your interest and your time. It's the consistency, just kind of like what we were talking about earlier about making your investments. Social media is usually where I fail as a realtor because I was never good on TikTok. I'm as white as they come. I can't dance. So
then that actually probably makes good TikTok content. The I can't dance real estate agent. If you actually nailed that shit when we first started talking today, David. I don't even know if we had gone live yet. You had mentioned something about sincerity. We must have been live. And yeah, the consumer, the people that are buying houses, that are borrowing mortgages, etc., we are so tired of being sold. Be authentic, be transparent, those kinds of things. The way David put it is be sincere, also true. So yeah, constant, consistent, authentic, transparent, and work. Do the goddamn work, and you're going to be fine. There's no reason to be concerned about the sky falling.
Yep. No, it really is. It's I feel like people get afraid first, and then everything follows. They let that really.
We're human. Fear lingers.
Yeah. No, yeah, and it also sells. So you're seeing a lot of fear coming from every direction. We started off talking about the difference between the Fed raising rates and what mortgage rates actually do. So people always hear like, well, the Fed's raising rates. Well, so buyers are getting out of the market. Well, you need to call all your buyers and tell them, look, this is the difference here, and that way that you can tell them and you can educate them and you can be sincere about it and be like, you're probably going to see a great opportunity in the market probably in the next, probably 3 to 6 weeks time frame ish. That's just a pure guess, but you need to be paying attention. If you quit your search right now, if you're not talking to your realtor, if you're not talking to your mortgage broker, or if us as realtors and mortgage brokers aren't talking to our people, they have no idea. All they hear is that fear, and they cut themselves off at the knees whenever they need to honestly be buying a house right now, because there's nothing in the market that shows that we're going. Personally, I don't believe we're going to have a crash. We're not seeing anything.
In real estate? Oh God, no.
No, it's the backbone of our economy because it's not a financial crisis like it was in 2008. They're not having to deal with those.
We have a legitimate shortage.
Yes.
We don't have enough room for everybody.
Yep.
For 1,000 reasons, but some of them really big, like huge generations either wanting to buy homes right now Jen, wink, wink, or the boomers, my parents, the next biggest generation still surviving on the planet, living longer, not going out of there, not turning those homes back into the inventory. We don't do multi-generational living. The builders are way behind. Yeah, we've got such a major shortage problem that, yeah, when people ask are real estate values going to come down, I say, yes, hell yes. In 2050, they're going to come back down to 2045 numbers. Yeah, and we're probably going to see this kind of stupid appreciation because of the supply and demand issue. Maybe not 20% a year, maybe only 10, but we're going to see it for 20 or 30 years.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, that one drives me up a wall. But, yeah, there's so many outside forces, so many of them out of our control. There's just no way to do it. But, yeah, let's end on this note that fortunes are made during recessions.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't think anybody would deny that we're heading into one. All right, Jen, I know we're over. I see you pinging me. What do you want to talk about? What do you want to wrap up with? What do you want to ask David? What did I forget to ask David?
I mean, I just want to hear more about his adventure living in Australia, but I'm not sure that's How I Met Your Mortgage content. So, you know.
We did get a lot of that before we went live, yes.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. We'll just have to have David come hang out at the office and tell us about Australia. But
I'm down for it. Second favorite place in the world.
is Colorado the first? What's the first? Okay. All right.
Well, the United States of America.
All right. Fair. All right, everybody. Well, if you want to hear more about us, you can text tips to 63566. Social Media Day Denver is next Thursday. I don't know how that's possible that June 30th is next Thursday, but if you do not already have your ticket, text tips to 63566 to get that. You can use code TIPS for $25 off your ticket. 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Some great speakers lined up. I say that so humbly because both Adam and I are both speaking this year. But we'll also have a LinkedIn speaker, Facebook ads, how to have a kick-ass homepage on your website. We have our closing speaker is he was in martial arts, and he's going to bring martial arts and then into how to tell your story effectively online. It's going to be cool. So
and pizza.
And pizza.
We get pizza.
Yes,
that's the highlight I'm looking for.
It's true. Our lunch sponsor is pizza right on campus. So thank you to Pete for that. So text tips to 63566. Use tips for $25 off your ticket. You can also get a copy of Adam's book, Just the Tips. The blur is always doing funky things with this. You can see my cat's face.
We can see your cat's face. That's awesome.
I know. Cool. You can see recent episodes of the show. Very soon, you'll be able to get tickets for Mile High Mastermind, which is our lead generation focused conference every September. That's at the University of Denver. So lots of things happening in our world, and most of them you can find out by texting tips to 63566.
Cool. Yeah. Well, thanks for that. And David, thank you for carving out some time for us again. I know that's not easy on a Monday morning.
Anytime.
All right. Well, then we're going to hold you to that and do it again. All right, everyone else, thanks for tuning in. You can catch live episodes of How I Met Your Mortgage on Mondays at 10:30 Mountain Time. And you can catch us in syndication if you want to see the video cast on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube. And you can listen to the podcast on Apple, Spotify, and coming soon is Amazon.
Someday
when Amazon works out Amazon.
Yeah.
All right. So thanks for tuning in, everybody, and we'll see you next week.